Hi guys, I'm Alexmo, and recently in the Pokemon fandom, a lot of people have been wondering if Pokemon Journeys is the last series with Ash as our main protagonist. This has then led some fans, such as myself, to wonder, well, who's gonna replace him? And more specifically to myself, could it be Go or Koharu, two of the supporting cast members or protagonists in Pokemon Journeys? So today I've come up with a couple categories of things that I think a protagonist for a Pokemon anime needs to have. Now, I'll get to these categories in a moment. Now, these are just my opinions. These are just categories I thought of through some brainstorming. I'm sure that anyone else could have totally different ones. So this is somewhat of a biased list. Don't take this as a fact, just my opinion. I also want to quickly talk about the character on screen right now. This character has a name in Japanese being Koharu and an English name being Chloe. I will be referring to her as Koharu throughout this video. However, if you call her Chloe, that's totally fine. She has both names, but when you see this character on screen, when I call her Koharu, this is the character I'm talking about. Now, the first category I came up with was character appeal, because a lot of people really like Ash. However, for Go and Koharu, it's kind of a different story. I have seen very differing opinions online about these two characters. Some people really like them, some people don't. Some people really like one, but not the other. And there are a lot of people who despise Go. So let me explain why that is. Now, for Go, I've seen most of his hate being about him catching Pokemon that fans really want Ash to catch and taking away from Ash's screen time, and while I don't agree with this, this is definitely a criticism that a lot of fans have, and it makes Go a very hated character. Now, as for Koharu, criticism I've seen a lot of is that she's not really with the group that much. Only recently she's been having more appearances, and then there's also the fact that she caught an Eevee, which, similar to Go, is a Pokemon that fans want Ash to have. Now, again, I don't necessarily agree with these criticisms, however they are there. Overall, to the fandom, Koharu is the less hated character, at least from what I've seen, so I'm going to be giving her a point in this category because I've spoken to a lot of Pokemon fans on Discord who say they would legitimately quit watching the anime if Go was the protagonist. Now, again, I don't necessarily agree with these criticisms, however, it is a factor, and that's why I'm giving Koharu the first point in this category. Now, the next category I have is having a marketable partner Pokemon, and now what I mean by this is basically having a Pokemon as their main Pokemon, the Pokemon that's going to show up the most, that is very marketable. Essentially, Ash's partner Pokemon is Pikachu, and then he also has Lucario as his ace of the series. Both are extremely marketable Pokemon, Pikachu being the mascot, Lucario being a fan favorite, if that makes sense. Now, Pikachu is the mascot of Pokemon, but Eevee is becoming a secondary mascot, and Koharu and Go both have these Pokemon. However, Go's has evolved into a Raichu. His Pikachu evolved into a Raichu, meaning he doesn't have the marketable Pikachu anymore. And while Raichu is still somewhat marketable, it's definitely not as much as Pikachu. And then there's also the factor that Raichu isn't his partner Pokemon. Go's partner Pokemon is Cinderace, with Koharu's being Eevee. Now, these are the Pokemon that are going to be with them the most. You know, Go's Raichu isn't going to be there a lot of the time. It's only appeared in, 2 episodes? So, Go having a Cinderace is not going to be a relevant Pokemon in Generation 9. It's not going to be as marketable in Generation 9. Whereas if you look at Koharu's Eevee, Eevee is becoming the secondary mascot of Pokemon and is going to be very marketable for a long time. Along with it not wanting to evolve, it's very similar to Ash's Pikachu, which makes me think it would be a good fit for a Pokemon protagonist's ace Pokemon. So I am going to be giving the second point to Koharu, so right now it is 2 to Koharu and 0 to Go, but let's see if that changes in the next category. Now, I don't really know the best name for this category, but I'm going with Ash-like personality, and what I mean by this is a personality very similar to our protagonist Ash. Someone with a never-give-up attitude, you know? Someone who essentially reminds us of the character Ash. With Ash being a protagonist for so long and having this never-give-up attitude, which makes a lot of fans really enjoy his character, it makes me think that people would want that personality in the next protagonist. Even if it's not Ash, it's someone who's similar to Ash, and that might ease the transition for other fans. Now, we know that the character of Go is spending a lot of time with Ash, being dual protagonists in this series, and is very inspired by Ash, and more is becoming more like Ash every episode, to the point where he's on a very similar level to Ash, even if fans don't really like that. that's more about the character reception category from earlier. But currently, Go is a very similar character to Ash, and while they have different goals and different personalities when it comes down to it, Go's personality is similar and inspired by Ash's. Now, as for the character of Koharu, she hasn't been inspired as much by Ash. Now, this is probably due to her lack of screen time, which has been changing recently, but as of now, as of me creating this video, which is as of Pokemon Journeys episode 60, she has not been inspired by Ash too much, maybe a little bit, but not a lot. So I have to give the point in this category to Go. I think he deserves the point, and that makes the score 2-1. Now, next up is the idea of starting from square one and being more of a beginner trainer, and I'll explain more about what this means as I go on with this category. Now, for Go, it would be a lie to say he's a beginner trainer at this point. He has caught 2 legendary Pokemon technically, he has fully evolved Pokemon, and a very large roster of Pokemon, and as much as I love Go as a character, I cannot deny that it might be weird to have him as a new protagonist when he's already advanced so much in his journey. As for Koharu, she has only been a Pokemon trainer for about 10 episodes so far and still has a long way to go, and in a way is similar to the original series Ash in that she is a beginner trainer, has not had much development as a trainer yet, and still has a long ways to go. I'm going to be giving the point to Koharu, making the score 3-1. Now, I do think that this category is pretty much the opposite of last category, this being starting from square one, and the other one is being inspired by a character who has been on journeys for 20 years. Now, I do think both of these ideas have their own strengths, and that's why they both have points separately, but for this category, I'm giving the point to Koharu. Hopefully that made sense. So for this category, I'm going to be talking about the formula of the series, and let me explain a bit about what that means. So, from the original series until X and Y, there was the old Pokemon formula. Ash travels around the region, collects 8 badges, and loses in the league. Then Sun and Moon and Journeys have both had their own new formulas, sticking in one location, going around to different places. Now, Sun and Moon and Journeys, while similar, do have different formulas. They are both separate formulas. But the thing they have in common is that they're different from the original formula, if that makes sense. Now, if I relate this to the Koharu and Go, I think that if Koharu was a protagonist, she would be following the old formula, as she is starting off as a new trainer and would likely go around and collect gym badges or something of that sort. As for Go, with his whole catching all these different Pokemon, probably catching a Pokemon every other episode, there's no way he can do exactly the old formula. He would be doing some sort of new formula. Not exactly like Sun and Moon or Journeys, maybe more similar to the original formula, but no matter what, it would be some sort of new formula. That's just how his character works. For this category, I'm going to give the point to Go, as I think that right now the Pokemon anime is leaning towards using different formulas. I don't think they would go back to the old formula anytime soon. As for now, I think they're going to continue using new formulas to see how it goes, because they did that for Sun and Moon and Journeys, and regardless if you like the new formulas or not, it is definitely changing up the series, in my opinion, for the better. Now, this is going to be the last category in this video, and that is their goals. Now, Koharu doesn't have a goal as a trainer yet, however, I do think if she becomes the protagonist, it's likely that she'll be taking on the Gym Challenge in the Generation 9 region, probably catching new Generation 9 Pokemon, and using that old formula that I talked about earlier to defeat all of the gyms, go up to the Pokemon League, and likely lose. As for Go, I think he could also take on the gyms, work his way up to the Pokemon League, and maybe win, maybe lose, who knows. But Go also has his dream of catching every Pokemon on his way up to Mew. And the thing with this dream, his goal of catching all these Pokemon, or his dream, whatever you want to call it, I think makes him a better candidate. And the reason I say this is because with these gyms, it can only go on for so long. Eventually the trainer's going to get so strong that they have to win a Pokemon League. We saw that with Ash. Now for Go, even if he does eventually win a league, he still has his dream of catching every Pokemon. And since there's always new Pokemon every generation, this means that Go can be a protagonist for however long the writers want. Because of that, I think that makes Go a little more likely to be the protagonist in terms of his goal. Now, this was the last category, and the scores were tied up, meaning I don't actually have a definitive answer to the question I asked at the start of this video. I don't know if Go or Koharu would make a better protagonist. Now, I think I prefer Koharu as a character, however I think they would both make great protagonists. Now, I would like everyone to go tell me who you think should be the protagonist in the comments. Make up your own categories and tell me why it makes more sense for one of them to be the protagonist. Of course, I just kind of brainstorm these categories, they're just my opinion. Tell me yours in the comments. I have more videos coming out in the future like this, so if you liked my content, feel free to subscribe, no pressure, but if you did enjoy this video, I have a lot more coming out in the future. Now I hope to see you in my next video. For now, goodbye.